Reports have it that the G5 governors termed Integrity Group have already started saying that, well, there's still a window for the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, to really reconcile with them. Basically, they have conditions like what is already in public domain. But for the sake of morality, isn't it fair, instead of scuttling or going against a party in this sensitive period, instead of campaigning or trying to support another if it happens or if that's what they are looking into, isn't it fair for the chieftains or the members of such party to defect rather than be in the party and still seem to be causing rips in all of these issues?
Some of those persons represent the soul of the party. Some of those persons in 2015 were the one, they almost paid the supreme price to continue to hoist the flag of that particular party. And those are the persons you want to, for instance, let you cite a name. You want Wike, for instance, to resign from PDP. He said no. You know, I spent all my money for that party. I groomed, nursed that party. You now want him to leave? No. In fact, Philip, you know that there's no party. You don't have parties in Nigeria now.
But it seems like a personal fight. Some will term it as a personal fight. Just because I was not given the opportunity to be the presidential candidate, yes, then I have to ensure that the presidential candidate do not win in the election. Don't you think that's how it seems like?
It is not. First, Wike is crying blue mother because he's been cheated left, right, and center. The first cheating happened at Eagle Square during the elections of the primaries, isn't it? Where elections were going on at about critical time during that electionary process, the Atiku stormed out of Eagle Square, and then they claimed it was time for prayers, and then the return later for Tambuwa to now say he wanted to speak again, and then he was only the governor who had the opportunity to speak again. When you have spoken before, you have made your speeches as a presidential candidate, you are not supposed to come back again. But then he was given an opportunity to speak because he wanted to do damages. And at the end of the day, he spoke and asked all his candidates to now pitch tent with Atiku. And that is how Wike was defeated. And remember that Tambuwa and Wike were best of friends. But it's just that Wike did not remember that blood is thicker than water. And so he kept on with Tambuwa. That is one. Two.
But don't forget that politics is all a matter of interest.
That's what I'm telling you now.
And so if you have to figure that in, yes, Wike should have expected this.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
So it shouldn't be a surprise.
We are factoring it in. We are factoring it in that blood is thicker. The blood is the interest. Is thicker than water. Do you understand? Secondly, another anger, if that is anything to go by, of why Tambuwa stepped down for Atiku about the blood is thicker than water, then Wike is also very angry that his own blood person, who is now Okowa, now had to, after they have been holding meetings together, that it is time for the South to produce presidential candidates, went behind all of them, and that is backstabbing, my dear brother, went behind all of them to now accept to become a vice president hopeful to Atiku. And you know, eventually they started wearing Okowa with all manners of Igbo toga and all that. That is an Igbo man from the southeast, because as it were, Atiku had made a statement before that it's only the southeast that will make him step down. Do you understand? And so just to, you know, put on that complexion, they have now nominated Okowa to now become his
running mate
for that, running mate for that very office. So this Wike now, this is annoying.
Okay.
How could you have done this?
Okay.
Tambo has stepped down for his brother. You understand? Because they want to perpetrate themselves in power. Then you, who we have been holding meeting together that this should not hold, you now went behind and then accepted that position. So Wike and the G5, they are very, very angry. You know, it became very clear by yesterday when Dankwabo, former governor of Gombe State, who had been in G5, a member of the G5, and now parted ways with them now. And by yesterday, he was receiving Atiku contingent that had come to Gombe for campaign. You see what is happening. Nigeria is returning back to the... And when we talk about in this country that the only way to move forward is restructuring, you see naturally the whole, when it comes to their interests, they restructure themselves. But when it comes to the governance of Nigeria, because of the larger cake for them to share, they refuse restructuring. This country, like I've always said,
it will be better. It will be better. Now, let's get your opinion too. You are a custodian of the law, and well, by the constitution of the parties, and what has happened so far. Do you see the machinations, or rather the meetings being held by the G5? Do you see their ideas in this regard as what will benefit the people? Is it in the common good of Nigerians or personal gains?
Well, you cannot remove the fact that there are benefits, there are personal benefits. You cannot remove that fact. Because politics is all about benefit, all about interest, just like we've agreed just now. But looking at what transpired, I think they have the right to be aggrieved. However, many a time I've asked questions. One of the G5 governors, that the person of the governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, you were the chairman of the committee to decide which way the coin should swing to. And you people came up and said, let it be thrown open for everybody to contest. When you knew, ab initio, that it ought to go to the southern part of Nigeria, see where we have landed now with the idea of throwing it open. And now, if you watch the body language of the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and you also vis-a-vis marry it with that of the chairman, Iyorchia Ayu, you discover that there was an agreement even before the convention took place.
Was the agreement written?
No. And now,
so if it's not written, does it not mean that there is no local standard on that in the law court?
The agreement I mean just now is the agreement between the person of the presidential candidate and the chairman.
Okay.
Outside the constitution of the party. Because PDP constitution provides for rotation. As a northerner had it, and a northerner is on seat, it is just, it is fair, it is reasonable, it is commonsensical that the power should go to the south. And now it has gotten to the turn of the south, and somebody came up with a political arithmetic to send away the southerners because he believes that blood is thicker than water. Then what about the phrase that is binding us as Nigerians? Unity in diversity. Where is that unity now?
But does it really matter being a southerner or not being a southerner when it comes to issues of electing a president? Does it really matter?
Let me answer this question.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back. Does it really matter?
It matters. Nigeria is on a tripod. Nigeria, we are told that Nigeria is one because of that phrase, unity in diversity. But when it comes to actions and inactions that we've witnessed in this country, when it comes to appointment, we saw the loop-sided appointment.
Okay, but is it stated in the constitution?
That's what? That whether it must go
rotational presidency.
It is not a constitutional matter.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that. Let's get your reaction on this.
Excuse me, that has crystallized a long time ago. Somebody instituted Federal Character Commission. Somebody instituted that so that you can have representation from everywhere. Even as at the time we went to school, at that young age, there's this quota system to have representation from everywhere. You are going to school now, you find that a boy in Benin here now, who is from Jigawa State or Nasarawa State, because they term his state from an educationally disadvantaged state, might get admission even if he's called less than a Benin boy who is in the same primary school or secondary school with him here. You understand? So he might get admission into a university, even Uniben, before an Edo boy. You understand? Because of quota system. Because he comes from educationally disadvantaged states. And unfortunately, these educationally disadvantaged states are the ones producing presidency for this country. And you wonder, don't you need education to reason? And so that is where we are as a country. I talked about Federal Character Commission, representation from everywhere. So it's understandable that when you have a president from one region, then the next, the chairmanship of the party should come from the other region. It is there.
But can it be challenged? Can it be challenged in the market? Because we just got a statement from the legal practitioner.
Yes, we have countries
by implication, Emmanuel Ogbakpolo is saying that it cannot be challenged.
We have countries with unwritten constitution.
You agree to that, Emmanuel?
Some people are administered in the north with Sharia law and all that, and these things are working out in those places. You understand? Isn't the same presidential candidate is the one that says, don't vote for Tinubu, don't vote for Obi, because there are no Northerners.
All right, I'll come back to you. The business of the electoral process is for all and sundry, and we're going to be taking a short break.